Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Morino Reifenberg here again. It's live streaming time again, so let's begin. The topic on this live stream, or the topic of this live stream, or relating to this live stream, will be love from an occult perspective and quote unquote soulmates. So, yeah, I. I need to check to see if there are people that are going to. I don't know. Let's just wait a couple of seconds for some people to join in the live stream, and then we can begin. I repeat, the topic is discussing love from an occult perspective and quote unquote soulmates. So yeah. Let me just check to see if setting wise everything is okay. Spinosaurus says hello. Hello, Spinosaurus. You can see for yourself what the topic is relating to this live stream. I hope that you're doing okay, Spinosaurus. Everything okay with you? I'm assuming that everything is well in Romania. I'm assuming that you're doing okay in Budapest or Bucharest. Sorry, Budapest is Hungary. Spinosaurus says you should know that I am high as heaven right now. No problem whatsoever. Okay, as long as as long as you're coherent and you're capable of making sense, or you are still making sense. Otherwise, there's a chance that I might ignore you somewhat. Okay, so yeah, let's begin. I've got two people watching this, so let's begin. Love from an occult perspective, as well as love overall. This, to be honest, is one of the most important aspects of humanity, if you will. That's why even grimoires, even magical workbooks, they mention love. Okay, there are grimoires in which it's mentioned, or in which it's said that one of the things that people desire most is to love and be loved. And I think it's more than fair and safe to say that that is correct based on mankind's, based on mankind's history. How many love songs are there out there? There are literally a million and one love songs out there about love in all ways, shapes, and forms. There are a million and one movies about love, popular media. I mean, love is literally has literally turned into a love has turned into how should I put this? Love has turned into something trendy, to be honest. The manipulative bitch soulmates don't exist. I'll get to you in a second. You just hold on to your horses. I'll be getting to you like no other. Spinosaurus says, I'm making sense. Don't worry. I think magic sounds so cool right now, but love does. Yeah, I'll be addressing all of that in a second, okay? Ever since the beginning of mankind, love has been an issue. Love has been thingy. That's why poems exist. That's why this exists, and that's why that exists, and that's also why within the occult. That's why within the occult, um, love is also mentioned heavily. Love's mentioned heavily within the occult, and there are more than a couple of grimoires out there that deal with love and love-related matters, either obtaining love or similar. As a matter of fact, love is one of the most things, one of the main topics that my customers petition me for or people approach me for. One of the main things that they approach me for is love related matters. Generally speaking, honestly, I've also mentioned this in the past, but love and money, to be honest, generally speaking, are what the majority of my customer base is all about, or my client base is about. So yeah, love is definitely a heavy topic. The majority of people out there have either been in love or are in love or have had crushes on people, on others. But the sad thing is that the majority of them don't know the difference. Okay, there is a distinct difference, and it is very important that you know what that difference is. Um, there's a okay. You really need to know what that is. Having a let's start off. Okay, when the majority of people out there that use the phrase love, they don't know what love is. They just say love because it sounds nice, but they have no idea on what love is or what love means. And they have no idea what love is or what love means. They just throw it out there the same way that marriage is thrown out there, and it's kind of despicable, to be honest. Everything's watered down. That includes the phrase love. It really has no real. Thanks to people or the majority of people just thinking. Some of the people just some of the people just bringing it up or just they just throw it around loosely and whatnot, and they have no idea what they're saying. But the thing is, to be honest, you should be dead honest about this. Is that I'm going to explain to you guys now exactly what the difference is. The majority of people out there, they have crushes on each other. They just have crushes, and that's it. Okay, it's either an infatuation or it's something that's brought on mainly by physical interaction. You name it. This guy slept with this girl and now he's in love with her, he claims. You know, he doesn't love her, he's in love with her, he claims, when he has no idea what love is. That's not love, that's just an infatuation. You enjoyed yourself, you enjoyed doing her, and or you enjoyed occult experiences. Hi Morino. You enjoyed doing her, and the manipulative bitches, yes, and some people just randomly throw that one around at strangers. I said, I'll be getting to you. Wait patiently, please, bitch. And I'll be getting to your bitch ass in a second. And yeah, they just, that's it. For the rest, other people have a crush on someone else, and it's brought on by physical looks. Generally speaking, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, or regardless of what your sexual or gender preference is, people that generally speaking use the phrase love have seen someone, that person looks nice, that person is their type, and as a result, they immediately have a crush on that person and they say, hey, I'm in love, I'm in love and whatnot. And if those feelings are, even if those feelings aren't reciprocated, that feeling still lingers around. That is what the average person nowadays unfortunately means by love, which is total bullshit. Okay. Uh, yeah. So that's what people mean by love, the quote unquote love. That's not love. Um, and yeah, when does that feeling fade? That feeling fades when you've either been intimate with that person or similar, or if those feelings aren't reciprocated at all, then it will automatically fade away. Your simple example is you having a high school crush and your high school crush rejecting you. Let's just say 2 times, 3 times at the most. Then that feeling will fade. And generally speaking, those feelings of admiration and those loving feelings are immediately literally go the other way around. Okay, if they immediately, you get the tendency to immediately flip 180 degrees, or people at least do. They get the tendency to turn 180 degrees regarding attitude. It was first I love him and then all of a sudden I hate him, I love her and then I hate her. Another interesting aspect too is that when people crush on others, they're not thinking rationally. Rationale goes out the door, their mind goes out the door, and they're just thinking with either, their genitalia, their private parts, or with something else. And it just makes no sense. That's where the phrase head over heel comes from. People make irrational decisions that aren't based on logic or reasoning. No, there's no rational thinking behind it. I mean, I have had plenty of girls or women that have had crushes on me, and the feeling in most cases, or the feeling in general, wasn't mutual. They liked me, but I didn't like them. And I saw them do the stupidest things. I saw them do things that make no sense whatsoever, saying things that they just did, things that are ill-advised, things that don't work out in their favor, and it's not a decision that these aren't decisions that they make rationally. An excellent example is that you can say or do whatever you want, you'll still be golden in their book. So it doesn't matter. Okay, a girl has a crush on me. I can blow up a fucking building. I can turn into a serial killer. I can turn into a suicide terrorist. She'll still try to defend me. That is not good at all, as you can tell. That's like, how should I put this? That's almost like being under the influence of hallucinogens or something. It's like being intoxicated, and that's not a good thing. Okay, you need to be lucid. You need to be of a sound mind. Uh, yeah, so that's basically what the majority of the world nowadays understands when dealing with love, and that's not love. That's just having a crush on someone or having some kind of infatuation. Yeah. And now here it comes. Now I'm going to discuss what the grimoires actually discuss. Okay, actual love. Actual love, okay, coincides with quote unquote soulmates. Actual love is when you, without even having laid a finger on someone, for example, okay, have gotten to know someone, and right from the start, you feel an intense bond, a bond that doesn't fade away with time, a bond that, generally speaking, at the very least, generally speaking, grows stronger, but at the very least stays the same intensity wise. Something that very few people in the world experience. So, yeah, that's what actual love is about, and that's what the grimoires address. A lot of people out there, they just don't focus on that aspect. But I remember back when I read grimoires, I really it really drew my attention a couple of times, because the topic of love didn't interest me, especially back when I was still an armchair occultist and I read grimoires. I mean, I just I just looked at it and I was like, no, not really. I mean, adversely, I've also had crushes relating to what I previously discussed about fake love, if you will, not real love. I've also had crushes on one or two girls, and in hindsight, I'm also saying to myself, what the hell did I just do? I mean, why did I do that? Why? I was just beside oneself. You're just beside yourself, to put it that way. Like I said, it's like being high or being ridiculously drunk. For me, thank goodness that has not happened a lot of times. As a matter of fact, it's happened. I can count the amount of times that it has happened on literally one hand. That's how little I crush on a girl. It doesn't happen often. It's more the other way around. I think over the course of my lifetime, I've had at least 10 girls slash women have had crushes on me, and they just behave outlandishly and all of the things that I just mentioned. Okay, it's like they're fucking high and they're not thinking at all. It's like they lost the capacity to think. But real love is different. Okay, and here's also where it comes in. So the manipulative bitch is correct. Soulmates do not exist. Okay, soulmates is literally just a Valentinian concept, a mythical. Soulmates is the equivalent, the Valentinian equivalent of a unicorn. It's simply something that was created to make people feel better about themselves, or it was simply used as an excuse, similar to Valentine's Day, to make people spend money on love. It's basically a commercializing or an industrializement of love. Um, but no, I mean, real love is, and soulmates don't exist, but something similar, the realistic version of soulmates do exist. That is simply called love. Two people that genuinely love each other, or two people that have just spoken to each other. It doesn't matter. They've just gotten to know each other. And right from the beginning, there is a really strong bond. Okay, it could be anything. It could be anxiety mixed with intense heart palpitations, you feeling like your heart's gonna explode, and everything. And all the while, you're completely rational. It's not like your mind literally just drifts off or like you're not lucid. No, 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 no. You're completely aware of everything that's going on. Okay, let's just say it's like you drank 20 Red Bulls. That's what it's like, and you literally feel like you're on the verge of exploding. And alternatively, another example or another metaphor that I can give is that it's like you've got some kind of face hugger. For those of you that are familiar with Alien, the movie Alien, it's like you've got a face hugger inside you, and instead of just bursting open, it's inside your heart. So a heart hugger, if you will. You've got an alien growing inside you, and it just wants to be fed. Um, Occult experience is mentioning something interesting right now. Do you think soulmate is the same as twin flame? It is possible. Twin flame is also not really something credible, but honestly, there is no real way to phrase it. So let's just call it real soulmates or kindred spirits, however you want to phrase it. But that does really exist, and that is what grimoires hint at. Okay. Um, I'm definitely not. The whole concept behind soulmates is that there are people in this world that are literally made for each other, and I think that's bullshit. Nah. The realistic version, the occult version, is that two people simply have a bond, an astral bond with each other, a strong bond, one that won't go away, and one that you can literally try to push downwards and try to oppress or suppress. But that still doesn't mean that it's not there. Okay, it's like having a character trait, positively speaking, courage, or negatively speaking, being delusional or neurosis or fear. I mean, if something like that is part of your makeup, your astral makeup, it's part of your personality, it's part of who you are, then then you can forget about it. It doesn't matter what you say or do. The second that the situation presents itself in which that applies, then that character trait is going to come out. And that's the thing, okay? People, this is all of this. This is one example out of a million that there is no such thing as free will. Not that examples are even necessary. I mean, if people had free will, honestly, if I had free will, I would choose to never love anyone. It just makes things a lot easier. You can appreciate people, you can like people, but never love someone. It's just anyone that legitimately has anyone that has legitimately loved someone else. Okay, doesn't have to be in a romantic context. It can also be in a parental or maternal context, or in a friendship like context. To genuinely care for someone to the point where it's almost where you're unable to describe how you feel about that person, then yeah, that's why some people love their parents so much that whenever the parent dies, it has a huge problem. The person has a huge problem. It's similar to you. I mean, there are a couple of stories out there where you can see that, hey, for example, if a man and a woman, husband and wife are together, they die, one of them dies, the other one dies literally in a matter of minutes or a matter of hours or similar. The other person becomes completely, turns into a vegetable, if you want. And yeah, these people are examples. Of course, I can't confirm this, but these people are most likely kindred spirits. Okay, these people have a strong astral bond with each other. It's similar to people that have an astral bond with each other. For example, mothers sometimes having astral bonds to their children, sensing when the children are in danger. And they can explain it, of course, because the mundane person can explain it, but someone like me can. Okay, that's normal to have an astral bond to someone. You automatically feel what that person feels. And let's just say that you're literally on the same wavelength. And that is what kindred spirits are about. Kindred spirits aren't necessarily don't have to be within a romantic context or within a romantic setting. Kindred spirits can also apply to every kind of relationship that you can imagine. Any kind of every relationship that you can imagine, okay? Whether it be of a friendship nature, whether it be of a maternal or parental nature, you name it, okay? But anyone that has really experienced something like that, anyone that legitimately has loved someone else, knows how exhausting it can be and knows what kind of toll it can take on you, primarily emotionally. I mean, it's like a gigantic burden, okay? But at the same time, it's a burden that the average person does not want to let go. At the same time, it's something that you just want to satiate. Like I said, it's like literally having something living inside you that wants to eat, and all you want to do is feed it instead of getting rid of it, because it's simply worth keeping. It's simply worth holding on to, especially since not a lot of people, encounter this or actually go through with this or actually feel this. That's the whole point. That's why when all those stories, when you hear a guy dies or a woman dies and the husband immediately dies afterwards, and they were holding hands, or you feel They dig up graves during archaeological excavation. Sorry, you see a husband and wife literally next to each other holding hands, and that's how they die. Those things aren't common, really. It's rare to see something like that, but that's what makes it all the worthwhile. Okay, the average person rarely meets their kindred spirit or meets someone that they have an indescribably strong astral bond with. No, a spiritual bond with. I mean, the chance of meeting someone like that is literally one in, I think, in one in thousands at least, or even more, possibly. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much long story short. And I've also answered the manipulative bitch's question because based on her comments, she is just a non-believer, if you will, or whatever you want to, however you want to phrase her. She's clearly not caught up on the subject, or she's pretending not to be caught up on the subject. Doesn't matter to me. In any case, now she, as well as all of you, everyone else out there that's watching this stream or that will watch this stream, has been educated or has been schooled in terms of what all of this is about. Okay, so long story short, nowadays, now people get crushes on each other, the majority of people, and it's passed off as love when that's not the case. That's also why the majority of marriages fail, because that's not love. Love is being able to be around someone permanently and be able to deal with that person on a day-to-day basis, from the smallest, most insignificant things to the larger things. People that have crushes on each other, generally speaking, aren't compatible at all. Okay, these people have opposing character traits, generally speaking, so you can imagine that's where the problems exist. I mean, they simply feel physically attracted to each other primarily, and they're literally both of them are high as fuck. They're drunk on love. To be honest, that's where the phrase "drunk on love" comes from, because it's not based on rational thinking. It's not rational. So yeah, and where do problems exist? When the problems exist, right after right after that feeling automatically fades away. Okay, you've enjoyed each other primarily physically, you've had sex with that woman, numerous times until you can't have sex with her anymore, until you've had enough, and that's when the problems start. Usually at such a stage in people's relationships, half a year has gone by, you name it, a couple of months has gone by, and just because both of them were love drunk, they got married, they did a bunch of stuff. Okay, just because both of them got married, they did a bunch of stuff. They just did things like getting married, etc. They moved in, blah blah blah, and that's where the problems begin. Because slowly but surely, those feelings fade away. It just fades away, and that's where the problem starts. Simple example: I'm used to getting up, to waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning and starting the day, brushing my teeth and whatnot. And she is used to sleeping in and only wakes up at 9 or 10 a.m. You can already see where this is headed. Okay, I wake up and she's still, I do things like turn on the radio, I brush my teeth, I make a bunch of noise doing so. I walk around the house and she's still, under the covers, like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you have any idea what time it is? It's still dark out. That's where it begins. Now imagine 10 of those things, having to go through 10 of these things on a day-to-day basis. Simple other things. You like to, when you guys are having dinner, she likes to slurp soup, you don't. You have table manners, so you do things neatly, and she just goes like, that's what I mean. Okay, so you can imagine, you can see for yourself what kind of a dilemma that were to pose. The very few people that are able to get through something like that are people that have the due diligence and patience and perseverance to cope with each other, or to be willing to cope with each other. That's the only way to overcome this hurdle. If you compromise, okay? They make compromises, just pretty much nonstop. Okay, but that's why a lot of marriages also hit rough patches. Even the ones that are the longest standing of marriages, they've hit rough patches. They've hit rough patches in the way of they've hit they've hit rough patches in the way of that's when they hit rough patches. I mean, okay, because it's going to be hard. This doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. Like I said, I've dumped friends because their bad manners came out, and I'm not willing to cope with those bad manners, because friendships, generally speaking, especially in a modern context, are a lot more superficial. People are friends with each other. Honestly, the only real friend I only have one real friend, but that's normal. Adults, most adults, the majority of adults, they don't have friends. Okay, friends is more something for when you're a child and when all the way up to the point where you're a teenager. That's the only time when you're a friend. That's the only time when you see guys hanging out with other guys and so on. But those aren't friends really. Those are like acquaintances. You're just looking for someone to do fun stuff with. But that's not a friend. A friend is someone that's there for you in good as well as bad times. A real friend, an actual friend, someone that you have a bond with, an astral bond with. And even if you don't have a bond with someone, a real friend is someone that is willing to make do with you despite all your flaws. That, like I said, this applies across a friendship-like basis. It applies across a romantic context, in every possible context imaginable. That's how it. That's where it comes from. Okay, that's called an actual friendship. So yeah, people generally speaking, they simply everything turns to shit because they get to know themselves. The real people come out. The actual people. You're. It's like wanting to be high forever. You won't be able to high. It's not because. It's not because you thingy. It's not because you can be high all the time. I think a lot of people would be high all the time if it were possible, but unfortunately, like I said, the high of being in love or having a crush on someone, it's honestly, love is misused in that, grossly misused in that context. So I'm just going to say crush. After that, the crush is over. You're no longer, honeymoon is over, no more screwing around. You've already enjoyed the person, you've explored every inch of that person's body, blah 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 blah, 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 blah. You've done everything. That's my point. And that's it. It's all over and done with. And that's when the real you comes out. Okay. A lot of people, they're nice. I've seen girls, for example, that were really nice until you get to know them. Once you get to know them, God, it's just one gigantic bitch that comes out. I mean, I've seen those kind of women. I've seen those kind of girls. And the majority, the absolute majority of people are not willing to compromise so much because it requires a good deal of compromise. That's why even a couple of marriages out there are that still have survived are marriages that even the marriages out there that have survived are marriages that are in which people manage to compromise for each other. That's all. Compromise, compromise, and compromise. Okay, and then the occult love, the occult version of love, that's actual love. That's genuine love. That's an astral bond that two people have with each other, romantically speaking. And that bond won't go away. Doesn't matter what you say or do. It could be 20 years from now. You can try to suppress it. You can literally, it's like closing your eyes or blindfolding yourself and just walking around. The second you remove, the second you remove that, the second you remove that blindfold, so to speak, you will have issues because everything is just going to come back in one hit. It's like a character trait, like I explained. And that's what the grimoires hint at, okay? That's real love. That's actual love. And the same applies across friendships. So, yeah, love in a parental context, love in an otherwise context. And as for soulmates, it's the same thing. Okay, there is no such thing as soulmates in reality because you weren't put on this earth or you weren't brought into existence for the sole purpose of being with someone else. No. But let's just say kindred spirits, two people that have an astral bond with each other, whatever you want to call it, that does exist. Just the way I explained it. Okay, and that's what the grimoires hint at. And now I'm gonna hop on over to the chat section. Spinosaurus says, like me, hi, like me, damn you a player. I already answered the other thing. Occult experiences. Do you think soulmate is the same as a twin flame? Sim refuses, hi Morino, I heard about the winner of the giveaway. It's not that I needed the crystal ball to see coming, lol, but all I can say is that I'm happy for you. Yeah, the manipulative bitch is the best candidate compared to all the others that have commented. I've already said that in the video, compared to the rest, she is still the best candidate. Manipulative bitch is asking why. Some review says, I see a bright future for you too. LOL. Just make sure to invite me to the wedding. All right. LOL. Haha. Very funny. Kind of childish, but funny. And the manipulative bitch agrees. She says, no, I'm not. She's also joking as usual. What do you expect from a manipulative bitch? So yeah. Oh, does anyone have any questions? It's possible that this stream is going to be a short one since there's not really a lot to explain. I've literally explained everything. I mean, I could list examples of grimoires, but it doesn't seem necessary. It's not really necessary because the majority of grimoires list this. The Goetia, the entire Lesser Key of Solomon. Eric Anderson says hello. Hello, Eric. Occult experience says congratulations, you too. Yeah. Thanks. In any case, the Grimorium Verum mentions it. There are a bunch of things that mention it. Okay, even if I were to open up one of the mainstream grimoires and I were to just do a search query for love, you'd come across it. Let me just list an example. I can remember the Grimorium Verum. So yeah, let me see if I can find anything in the Verum. Hold on a second, you guys. No, the Grimorium Verum doesn't really list anything. I can't put my finger on the exact grimoire in which it's mentioned. Okay, like I said, there are so many grimoires out there, so it's really hard to just find something, to find an actual thingy, to find an actual example. But yeah, I don't have to say anything. The fact that the fact that that there is the fact that love has literally been turned into a household thing, you name it. I mean, it's like sex, it's like every other pleasure out there, okay? It's like a mundane sin, if you will, but it's not really a sin. It's quite different, it's more neutral. Someone else says. It's not a sin. It's like the seven deadly sins, okay? What are the seven deadly sins? Gluttony, sloth, lust, envy, and so on. These are all things that are literally so popular in the world, okay? Sloth, there are so many things out there that correspond to sloth, from chairs being sold, lazy boy chairs, to every fucking thing that you can imagine, hammocks, you name it. From I don't even have to point out all the porn sites out there and all the sex that's out there in every way, shape, and form. That covers lust. Another example, last but not least, that I'm gonna give is gluttony. Look at how many fucking restaurants there are out there. Almost anything that one could eat, anything that you could possibly eat. Okay, anything that you can possibly eat can be found in the world. Anything that people can turn into food, they turn into food, and then they make up a restaurant or any fucking makeshift wannabe restaurant, and they start selling. So yeah, I've already explained this in the past before. Okay, it's like it's not like the exact opposite of God's commandments are being fulfilled. That's what is being meant in the revelations of the devil is on earth and has seduced everyone. People are doing the exact opposite of what it is said to do. God said, eat and drink as little as possible. Billions upon billions of stores where you can buy food. God says sex should only be for the purposes of conceiving children or conception. And yeah, and what are people doing? There are porn sites every fucking where, everywhere. Okay, brothels, whorehouses, every fucking thing, everything out there is being turned into sex. Every fucking thing, almost everything. It just goes on. Okay, that was just a sideline. I just wanted to elaborate so that people understood me better. But I think I'm pretty sure that I've already explained it as best as possible. Okay, it's in today's world. It's easy to get confused, but do not get confused. The majority of people out there have crushes on each other or get crushes on each other. That's the example that I'm bringing to light. Okay, so yeah, for those of you that are watching, maybe if some of you have that issue, understand the difference. A crush is when you simply have a superficial liking towards someone, and it's accompanied by a rush of feelings. You feel whenever you see that person, you simply feel indifferent. It's like see no evil, hear no evil, or similar. But yeah, it's just a minor feeling that eventually goes away. You just lose interest. It's literally no different than any other superficial desire. It's like looking at a nice car and you said to yourself, "Oh, I love that car." You're a car enthusiast or you love motorsports, and you see, "Oh, look at that beautiful ATV. Look at that beautiful motorbike. Look at that beautiful Harley Davidson." Your love for it will fade. Period. And how long is it gonna last? I mean, for me, it's something I do on a daily basis. Okay, I love my cell phones, of course. I love both of my cell phones. But my love for the first one, when I first had it, I was like, nonstop. And now I just use it because it has to be used. I use it for its functionality, but it doesn't really appeal to me anymore. Of course, its features and functionality appeal to me. I use it for its intended purpose, but to say that it's appealing to me, nah, because I've just gotten used to it. How long did it last? I think that feeling lasted a month. It's kind of like a minor or a small high, and after that, it automatically just fades. So that's it, you guys. That's what you need to keep in mind. That is the definition, long story short, of a crush. Okay, when it comes to love, a real love, we're talking about actual love. That is love that's mentioned within an occult context. That's the actual love that has been present since the beginning of mankind, pretty much all the way up to this day. Love is simply an aspect of existence, and love isn't limited by anything. Love isn't limited. Love isn't limited by anything. Okay, love can be. You can love. You don't have to love another person specifically. You can love something else. You can love someone else. I mean, a perfect example of genuine love is the way that I love my beloved Lord Samael and my vice Lord Sandalphon, and to a slightly lesser extent, all the other spirits that I work with. You name it, and all the spirits that are here for me. Okay, because we have a bond that won't fade with time, a bond that won't just go away unless I dismiss them, and even then it won't go away. That bond will always be present. That's love. Okay, love is permanent, and like I said, love isn't limited by just a romantic context or within a romantic setting. No, you can love your parents unconditionally. See, when people say I'm in love, that simply means that they have a crush on someone. I also misused it in the past when I was a teenager, when I had a crush on a girl. Oh God, I'm in love. I love her so much. I mean, I'm so in love with her. That's a crush. When you say that you love someone, then that's genuine love. Okay. But again, people nowadays just use the phrase, the average person out there, I'm not the average person, uses the phrase fat in a fast and loose way. So yeah, it's just, I honestly, with the exception of one person, I have never told anyone else. I'm not kidding. I've never, dead serious. I have never told anyone else, with the exception of one woman. I've never told anyone else, which whom I mean it, of course. I have never told anyone else that I love them, not once. Because I'm not gonna say something that I don't mean. But then again, I'm different. Other people are just like blah 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 blah. Their word means nothing, but with me, my word is my bond. Okay, it means everything to me. And yeah, I've never told it to anyone else. Never, not once have I, under any circumstance that I can remember, if I told someone, I love you. No, with the exception of one person. But that's it, okay? And with that one person, I mean it, period. Um, and yeah, it also applies to any context, okay? A friendship like context, a parental or maternal context, you name it. I mean, that is real love and that's genuine love. A bond that you have, an astral bond that doesn't fade with time, the same way your astral body won't fade. Your astral body will fade only a while after death. And even then, it doesn't have to necessarily be the case. Okay, there are exceptions, but generally speaking, your astral body will only die after your physical body has given way, and it will take a while before you die. It's like having two lives. First life is over, astral life begins. Okay, and that's what the grimoires mean genuinely by love. That's why also, um, generally speaking, love is ruled by Venus. It's not a black and white matter because the sun can also rule love, but more in a romantic context. Venus, with the zodiac sign that rules love, Libra, deals with relationships of all kinds. Like I said, that's one of the that's one or two of the things that Libra specifically deals with, and of course Venus, since Venus rules Libra. Libra deals with relationships in every context. Okay, people that have strong Libra influences, or people that love making bonds with someone. Generally speaking, this is a general statement. They love. There are always exceptions, of course. Or people that have a strong bond, that like to develop strong bonds with others. But keep in mind that in case of genuine love, the whole kindred spirit thing, that this isn't a bond that you just created. Okay, this is a bond that was always there, even if you didn't know that it was. I understand that it's for a lot of people out there that it is complicated, because it is. Okay, nothing that is worth anything is simple. We know that, based on a simple observation in the world. Nothing out there, okay, even the simplest of things are easy. I mean, nothing. Everything that is worth something is ridiculously hard to accomplish, and or to cultivate. But that doesn't mean that it's not there. Okay, it's like I said, there's no such thing as free will, because if free will was present, I would definitely choose to not love anyone. I'd appreciate people. I'd say, I appreciate you being a friend and all, and blah 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 blah. I appreciate you being this and being that. But genuine love, I would gladly pass it up for reasons I already mentioned before. But then again, if free will existed, then there would be no pain and misery, and people would choose to not fall in disparity, and people would choose to always have a calm, clear, and cool head, and always be rational. Last but not least, with genuine love, you're completely rational. Okay, you're generally speaking completely rational, in the sense that you know what you're doing. You're aware of everything that's going on. Whereas with a crush, it's like you're intoxicated. Even if someone were to knock you the fuck out, you'd barely feel it or anything like that. But with genuine love, nah, you're completely rational, level-headed, and everything. Okay. Uh, yeah, and that's the difference. That's what occult grimoires mean by that. Go into the chat section again. Simrefuse says you're like our occult dad. Of course, we're like kids. Happy for you. Spinosaurus says, oh, if only I had a girlfriend. Oh, that's sad. Manipulative bitch says, sim reviews, neither of us are looking for a relationship. Sim review says, that's fine, we just have fun, right? According to occult experiences, if someone comes to you as an occult consultant and asks for their kindred spirit, how would you approach such a case? It's interesting. I'd be able to help out that person, but I'm not going to give it a second thought, because no one has ever come to me and told me, hey, help me find my true love or anything like that. No. So yes, it's not black and white, but like I said, general things that people come to me for are love, and but by love they simply mean being with someone in a relationship of a romantic nature, and financial help or financial assistance. Sim review says, yeah, according to Islam, it was Eve's fault and everything. Well, to be honest, it was Eve's fault. That's also where the phrase men like to they like to demonize women, as in you're a devil, And an argument I've heard it over the course of my life. Okay, that men have stated that, I mean, Eve is the one that seduced Adam, blah blah blah, and on a superficial context, from a superficial perspective, they are correct, because Eve is the one that seduced Adam. Adam didn't do anything by himself. He didn't take the apple by himself. Eve seduced him into doing it, and that's also why women are seen as potentially evil sometimes. It all depends. But yeah. Sim refuses. I originate from Islam, but I quickly saw through its fails thanks to Lucifer. That's good for you. Sim refuses. Goddamn Eve. Yeah, 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 yeah. So Eve was like a bitch. I mean, yeah. Okay. Of course, it's again. This is just a superficial context. You're only looking at things from a superficial perspective. Elvir Galaga says, why would God put pleasure in sex if he didn't want us to do that? I don't understand it. Listen, yeah. Then you're unfamiliar with the purpose of existence, Elvir Galarga, and allow me to explain that to you. At the very least, generally speaking, this is it overall, but at the very least, this is the general definition of this is the general definition of the meaning of existence. So it doesn't just apply within Christianity. The whole meaning of existence is to simply abstain from all worldly pleasures. Because God isn't stupid. God deliberately made all of the things that you're supposed to not touch, that you're supposed to stay away from, all things of a sinful nature. Sin as a whole has deliberately been made to be as pleasurable as possible. And the same goes for sex too. You're not supposed to derive any pleasure from sex, to be honest. So no foreplay or anything like that. It's just wham bam, thank you, ma'am. So just penetration, and that's all. And yeah, the meaning of existence is simply to abstain from every other worldly pleasure. And as a reward, God will grant you eternal life, and He'll thereby also grant you all the things, pleasure in the form of all the things, or all the things that you had to distance yourself from and not touch, okay, in the form of pleasure, better said. So I've already said this in the past, okay? It's like you haven't eaten in 4 days, literally haven't eaten a single thing. God is metaphorically speaking the host of a place that you go to stay at, and you come over there, you settle in, and the host just makes up a feast meal. Every imaginable dish that you can think of that's delicious is on that table, and God basically ties you to a chair in front of the table, or not even ties you. He just puts you there, and he tells you, listen, don't touch any of these dishes. Okay, I know that you're hungry. You could practically fall over, but this is my food. Do not touch it. And even if you were to ask an answer, the answer would be simply because I said so. End of story. I'll be, I'm leaving now and I'll be back over a week. If I find out that you touched the food, then I'm gonna beat the bejesus out of you, and there'll be hell to pay. That's pretty much the meaning of existence. Of course, this is literally speaking. This is not literally speaking, but metaphorically speaking, impossible. Okay, I mean, even the best among us will have the most tremendous of difficulties in terms of even the best among us will have difficulty abstaining from the simplest of pleasure, because we live in a society nowadays that's so saturated in sin. Sin is not only sin isn't only trendy. Sin is horrendously overglorified. Everything. When you go out, what do you see? Everywhere you look, you see someone sinning. A person's eating something. A person eating, for example, a hamburger, fast food. You see an advertisement with a woman making something seductively, or making some seductive movement. Everywhere, almost everywhere you go, everywhere you look within society, it's nothing but sin. Sin is glorified. Everything, indulgence, everything. Okay, hints at overindulgence in things that are sinful. So, bluntly put, God wants you to live under a rock. He wants you to deliberately go live under a rock, and to just close your eyes and ears and everything, and just do so. That's why, again, like I said, nothing that's worth doing is easy to accomplish. Nothing that's worth doing is easy to accomplish. Okay, and the hardest of all, attaining eternal life is yeah, it's just like I said, that's the hardest. Okay, even the best among us have difficulty doing it. The only person I remember not sinning at all, that is pure and has remained pure, is Christ himself. I don't remember any other person being able to abstain from sin. Like I said, even the best of us, Moses even sinned, and that's when God took his life, because he became swelled with arrogance when he split the Red Sea. And he told people, I split the Red Sea, move along, blah, 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 blah. This is just an example. Occult experiences, Enoch didn't sin. Yes, yes, yes. I'm not so sure. I'm not sure about that. But as far as I know, yeah, recordedly, Enoch didn't sin. But again, I'm not sure. This is just a general statement. Even the best among us will have tremendous difficulty not sinning. Okay, because sin is ingrained in society. It's implemented in society. I mean, just set aside sex or lusting after someone. You're not even allowed to think about lusting after someone. So you're not even allowed to think about sex, let alone the act. Even thinking about it is already a sin. So yeah, that's the meaning of existence in any case. The person that has been able to do anything like that, the person that has been able to restrain himself and or herself and has been able to stay away from sin, will God will grant that person eternal life. That's literally what it says in the Revelations. Okay, um, I almost want to look it up, but again, it's just in the end of Revelations where God says something along the lines of the unbelievers, the sinners, etc. Their place will be in the fiery lake of burning sulfur, and for those that have remained faithful or loyal or something similar to that, I will give them to drink from the pit of eternal life. So yeah, that's the meaning of existence. I remember that's why I read the Bible. When I first read the Bible, I read it because I wanted to know what the meaning of existence is. You know, why am I here as a human being? Why do I exist? Why do I exist as a being in the universe? What's the whole point of existing to begin with? And yeah, that's the point of existence. That's the whole meaning of existence. Okay, it's it sounds cruel, but yes, God is cruel because that's just the way God is. And God doesn't need an excuse. That's the whole definition of omnipotent. If you're almighty, or when you're almighty, you don't need any reason, you don't need anything because you make and break the rules and everything. You don't need a reason to make people suffer. You don't need a reason for everything. That's also why God has said, do not think that I am here to bring peace because I am here to bring the sword. I am here to divide a husband from his wife. I am here to break up this and that. Yeah, I mean, especially mainstream religions will try to bring up they're under the delusion, or a lot of them love to be under the delusion that whether it's a deliberate choice or not, that um, they love to be under the delusion that how should I put this? That God is a friendly God, a merciful God, a this and a that. You hear stuff like that. Generally speaking, God loves us all, and so on. God Himself says it in the New Testament. Do not think I came here to bring peace. So bluntly said, God says is saying to everyone, don't think that I'm here to bring peace and that I'm here to just caress you and give you a pat on the back and give you a shoulder to cry on. I'm here to literally rain hellfire down on all of you or on those of you that go against my wishes and whatnot. And yeah, some people have hinted at the fact that God is a tyrant basically who does that. And I agree with them, but I don't care, to be honest. All of us fall under God, whether we want to or not. That's a lot of stuff, a lot of this kind of stuff really escapes people. All of us fall under God. We have nothing to say. Every breath that we take, every move that we make, every aspect of our existence is dictated by God. So yeah, it doesn't matter what you say or do, you fall under God. So you have no other choice than to bow down to Him, even if you don't want to. Okay, God could metaphorically speaking go like this, and you'd immediately fall to your knees. So my entire stance on this is that I accept everything from God as a whole, the good as well as the bad. Even if God wants to torture me for eternity, I accept it because it's His will, period. I have nothing to say in His will about His will. None of us do. But I, as opposed to other people, some other people out there, know my place within existence as a being. I know my place, and yeah, and I know that my place is simply whatever God decides it to be. End of story. Of course, all of this is cruel, incredibly cruel. It's like God is the puppet master, and we're nothing but puppets, and He's pulling on the strings and everything because that's what it is. Yes, we're nothing but just playthings for God. That's a cruel way of putting it. But yeah, that's what it boils down to. But it doesn't matter. His will be done, period. There is nothing after that. His will be done. End of story. Yeah. I got all of this from reading the Bible just one time, and I read it when I was a teenager. I was 18 years old, and this was a time in my life, like I state in one of my videos, when I was knee deep in shit. I was, I mean, multiple spirits drove me to suicide or tried to drive me to suicide. Life was just, I was literally, I hit rock bottom repeatedly. I hit rock bottom repeatedly, and in a moment of lucidity, or in a moment where I was able to think rationally through all the pain, in a moment where I could think rationally and wanted to think rationally through all the pain, I just said to myself, you know what? I want to know if I die, I want to know what the meaning of existence is. I don't want to die ignorantly and so on. No. If if I do die, which is going to happen regardless of when it happens, if it's my time, it's my time. Then I want to know what the meaning of existence is. I read the Bible, the New Testament once. I read the Old Testament as a child. I was 8 years old. And as far as I remember, the Old Testament is simply a compilation of stories or an amalgam of stories in which that you're supposed to learn from. The first story that comes to mind is where God sent Michael to burn down Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's also where the thingy came from, right? The woman of Lot or something, Lot. So yeah, I remember that. I remember as a kid, 8 years old, reading about that. I mean, looking at the pictures and seeing Michael burn down Sodom and Gomorrah by having it rain elemental fire upon it. Uh, Michael also deals with, of course, with hellfire, but yeah, generally speaking, it's elemental fire. That's also why Michael, the archangel Michael, is equated with fire. He is the ruler of the element fire. That's why. And as you can see, it goes all the way back to the source. For the rest, I can imagine the whole Pharaoh let my people go story about what was the guy's name? Ramses, I think. Yeah. And the Jews that escaped Egypt, and God sent Samael to literally kill every firstborn child. You name it. That's what the Old Testament, as far as I can remember, was about. Okay. The Old Testament was also about the meaning of existence, but not as detailed and not as realistic. Or it could just be that I just read the kids' version of it. I read a book with with pictures and imagery and everything. It was a book that was specifically for children, and I read the actual New Testament when I was 18 years old, when I was completely lost and dazed and confused, and I could barely tell left from right, and people saw me as insane, having lost my mind, and all of that shit. And I read it once, and it immediately stuck with me. I thought to myself, "Holy crap! This is the best book that I've ever read in my life. This is the best book that I've read in my life." Okay, and that's why I haven't forgotten it. I haven't forgotten a single thing, despite the fact that it's very elaborate. Okay, I read things and I didn't understand 20% of it, because especially Revelations, because Revelations is about a lot of events that will occur, and sometimes it's hard to distinguish whether it's simply meant metaphorically or literally. Locusts being spread upon the earth, angels sounding their horns, Gabriel being one of them, you name it. All of these things are mentioned in Revelations, how the world will come to an end. But I had difficulty distinguishing what was really going to happen and what was, if anything at all, was meant metaphorically. In any case, in a nutshell, as simply explained as possible, that's the meaning of existence. So that's it, and that is our place within the universe as beings. We have nothing to say. So it doesn't matter how much you want to cry, how much you want to beg, how much you want to do this and that and this and that. No. Okay. You just need to follow God's rules and you'll be fine, regardless of your position and so on. And yeah, a lot of people don't know this. In any case, the people that are watching this do know now. Elver Galarga says, I guess the majority of us will go to hell because we are drunk in sin. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the case. The majority of us will go to hell. But like I said, it's all about acceptance, okay? I don't know whether I'll be going to heaven or hell when the world comes to an end, okay? Samael has told me that I'll be seen when I face God on Judgment Day. I'll be known as a follower of Him, and everything from there, I'll fall under Samael. But everything from there is will be God's will. Everything, not just from there. Everything from the beginning all up the way up to the end. But I accept anything that comes my way. If it's God's will that I go to hell, then I go to hell. I'll gladly go to hell, even if I'm not glad. That's what people don't understand, okay? You don't have a choice in the matter, you don't have a say in the matter. So I accept it, even if I didn't want to accept it, even for people that don't want to accept it. It's going to happen to you regardless, okay? God's will be done, period. So I, from a lucid, so to speak, perspective, just accept it, period. Accept everything. Hold on. Eric Anderson is asking me if sex magic is real. Eric Anderson says he's a Taurus sign. Uh, Sex magic is real. Sex magic, loosely put, simply involves directing the energy that you generate, the astral energy that you generate from having sex. Uh, you generate a lot of energy, a substantial amount of energy during sex, astrally as well as physically, in case you didn't know that, Eric Anderson. And the astral energy needs to be directed somewhere. Doesn't matter whether it's masturbation or having sex with an having sex with an actual person, you name it. And for your Taurus sign, the Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Taurus deals with a bunch of different things, but Taurus primarily deals with the earth. From an elemental perspective, it deals with material possessions and so on within a human context. And Libra is the one that deals with bonds and relationships and all things. It's not black and white. Libra deals with these relationships. So it doesn't matter whether they're, like I said, romantic or otherwise. It could be a business relationship to a business associate that you genuinely care for, and you want to establish a relationship with that person, blah, 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 blah. Whereas Leo, ruled by the sun, of course, deals with romance. And Scorpio, ruled by Mars, deals with lust. So, yeah, romance is literally just caring about someone in a non context setting, simply put, whereas lusting after someone is all about sex, and it's about the carnal aspect of sex. You just want meat. That's what I meant. The manipulative bitch is saying, so you can't cut these bonds, LMFAO. Sim refuses, all well, with all jokes aside, I think all religions have some truth. Islam made me also very patient in nature. But ultimately, the religions are corrupt, and Lucifer showed me why that is grateful. Yes, all the religions are corrupt, but you don't need, in all honesty, okay, I'm not dissing Lucifer. We don't need Lucifer, or you don't need necessarily Lucifer to tell you that. All of these, all mainstream religions are corrupt. This goes way back. This goes way back because, because of the involvement in men, the involvement of men. All mainstream religions that claim to be the one true religion are corrupt, okay? Based on everything that I know, Christianity is, if you had to assign one true religion, I'd say Christianity. That's why I'm a real Christian, but I'm not biased. I'm not sure of this. Anyone that can prove me wrong with facts, then yeah, is more than welcome to show that to me. But yeah, I mean, for Christians, I mean, if it goes back, the only thing that comes to mind, the perfect example, honestly, I can't think of a better example that comes to mind, is the Crusades, or are the Crusades. For anyone that's familiar with the Crusades, you guys recognize that the Crusades were also just uh, a bunch of corrupt men that pretended to be allied to God, or doing God's will, or being allies of Christ. Um, these guys just pretended to want to do good or do God's will when it's just. Hold on. Someone sent me a couple of emails. Okay. In any case, son of a bitch. I'm sorry. Yeah. In any case, Anyone that's familiar with the Crusades recognizes that, I don't know if it was the first Crusades, but at the very least, one of the Crusades was corrupt, in which they sacked the city. I don't know if it was the sack of Constantinople. I think so. Okay. If not, then another city. But in any case, crusade. The whole point of the Crusades were, especially back in medieval times, so that the Pope were to call on a crusade, because in that time, Islam gained a foothold and slowly started invading once European areas, and the Pope called for a crusade, basically fight in the name of God, blah blah blah. Hence them carrying the true cross and all of that, allegedly carrying the true cross, or a symbolic version of the true cross. And yeah, instead of actually doing what you'd expect them to do on paper, which is to honor their word, they just, in their greed, they just sacked Constantinople and plundered it for riches and everything else that you can imagine. So yeah, that's an example. This is only a Christian example. There are plenty of other examples, okay, because all the other mainstream religions have committed this sin in one way, shape, or form. So yeah, you don't need specifically a spirit to tell you that. Uh, Some review says, okay, a question that just popped up. Offerings to spirits. If I offer chocolate, how to dispose it? Trash, buy, bury. Does the spirit extract energy out of the candy or something? How does this work, please? Some say they cannot use it. We have to eat it for them to experience the offering. Some say just offer candy or so and remove it after 24 hours and trash. I'm sorry, some reviews. I am not going to answer those questions because then I'd be spoon feeding you. That's something that you need to figure out on your own. I mean, that's a too detailed question. That's not a general question. Uh, some review says, yes, I understand. It's easy to see. I got your point. I mean, Lucifer showed me what it did to me on a personal level, how it actually damaged me and my progress and lots more. Yes, of course, that's more than welcome. Like I said, I'm not bashing on Lucifer showing you the way. Uh, of course, great. I'm happy that Lucifer did that for you, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, if you look at the history of mankind, it doesn't take a lot of insight or knowledge, even, or let alone intellect, to see and realize that these things are corrupt, that most mainstream religions are corrupt. But I've already said that in the past. Most organized religions are just like businesses. They just care about making money. They care about money, power, and resources, etc. They don't care about guiding the masses. Okay, it's literally just picking off the weak. That's what it's about. In case you guys haven't noticed, the majority of people that attend church or are part of some mainstream religion are people that aren't doing well in life. These people, in their desperation, flee to the church because they think they're willing to try anything, and I can't blame them. Okay, in their pain, they're filled with so much disdain and despair, and in their astral pain, they simply can't see things clearly, and as a result, they simply flee to the church in hopes of salvation or in hopes of help, regardless of from where it's from. Um, I think back in the day, I also said to myself, I can try this. It doesn't hurt to try. If it works, then great. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But yeah, that's my point. If And no, the church, again, it doesn't take a lot. The church hasn't helped a single person, not in the way of, yes, that person guiding you to God and or similar, and yes, it's helping you. No, the church, any help or any progress that individuals have experienced from mainstream religions is simply from a human perspective. I mean, I can help you better than a church can. I mean, if a counselor comes to you and he simply offers you advice, then that's not, he's gonna come make it pass off as advice from God. God is telling me to tell you the blah 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 blah. You should spend less. You should do this and do that. Nah, you don't need thingy you don't need you don't need a pastor to tell you things like that. You can sort those things out for yourself, or if you cannot, then simply ask life advice from someone, a counselor, or not a religious counselor, just a general counselor like a psychiatrist or a psychologist. If you're of the opinion that you've lost your way in life to the point where you can't see the forest through the trees, then you could try a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but that psychiatrist himself or herself is just going to go about it in some kind of a diplomatic way. It's hard for them to care because it's just at the end of the day you're just another customer, and they simply can't experience what you've experienced. I've been through all of this. Okay, back when I was in so much pain too, my family also sent me to psychologists and psychiatrists, and these did nothing for me. And after talking to them the first time, I was like, okay, now I'm done. We're done here. And I just closed like a clam, like an oyster, emotionally or and astrally. So yeah, you don't need things like that. I mean, if you're really in deep shit, I mean, you have so many problems in your life, you have this, you have that, then all of these things, I can give people life advice. Listen, spend less. I'm going to review your entire way of life. And if your problems are, for example, financially, you're dead broke and you're in debt, you're really in debt, for example, you're $5,000 in debt, then I can help you by simply telling you to make do with as little as possible and to stick that out until all of your debts have been paid. You name it. This is basic advice that any person will give you, even a social worker that from the government, relating to any financial or welfare program or assistance will tell you. Keep your expenses as low as possible. Do away with everything that you don't absolutely positively need. So, for example, no internet, no this, no that, no blah 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 blah. You're supposed to almost live like a caveman, and you're supposed to work as hard as possible. Doesn't matter whether you have to work 16 hours a day until all of your debts have been repaid. That's the basic advice that any lucid person will give you. But the church is just now full of shit. Okay, the church is the equivalent of someone that is like a someone. The church is the equivalent of a bookkeeper that doesn't know anything, that can't even do basic math, that can't even tell you 2 plus 2, how much 2 plus 2 equals. So yeah. Some review says yes, indeed. Look at the church; it's a gold digger motherfucker, quite literally. Yes. That's also why the church condemns genuine experiences. The church condemns genuine experiences like. Experiences like the church condemns genuine experiences along the lines of yeah, how should I put this, experiences along the lines of experiences that are genuine. For example, a genuine vision that you got, genuine stigmata and stuff like that. Now the church condemns it because the church is literally the equivalent of a multinational company. That's what the church is. The church is literally the equivalent of a multinational company that is only in it for money and power. People nowadays have wised up because our quality of life and living standards have increased 100-fold or 1,000-fold even compared to medieval times and before then. But back in those primitive times, the church was pretty much master of everything. The most ridiculous ideas would get you hanged or something. The second you said something or you even second guess the church or second question the church, it was like immediately hang them, blah, blah, blah. He blasphemer, hang him, and boom, you're hanged. Look at what happened to Joan of Arc, okay? And fire it is, okay? They literally just burned her at the stake and that was it. Uh, it just goes on. That's my point. That's how primitive people were back in the day. But that's also why a bunch of other things happened. People went to war constantly. You couldn't lead a normal life back then. Back then, you constantly had to be on the lookout. You couldn't even get a chance to educate yourself, let alone go to school or some educational facility or center, or just develop as a human being, ascend as a human being by whatever means necessary. No, life was primitive. It was just planting crops and just going about daily life, struggling to survive until some other conquering nation comes and overthrows you and literally starts raiding your village and raping your loved ones and selling you into slavery. That's how grim life was back then, as far as I recall it, or as I recall it. Some review says church has only sold hope. LOL, all new low price, $25. Act now to be forgiven. Gotta love them. Yeah, the thing is also make me laugh. Confessions. The whole concept of you calling someone else, of calling a priest, so someone just dressed as a priest, or a guy that is a priest. A priest is like a profession, to be honest, no different from a commercial perspective or a business perspective. Calling him father and him calling you son. It clearly says so in the New Testament that I can remember, and thou shalt call none other father, and none other can call you son, because he who is above is the only one that is your father, your real father, and you are his son, period, no one else. In such a context, in a spiritual context, in a soulful context. So yeah, the entire foundations of the church, if you really examine it from all perspectives, it's just full of, just mainstream religion is so full of shit. I mean, I thank you, Father. I beg you, Father, for I have sins. Those confession booths. This is just, honestly, this is literally just people that can't deal with their own self guilt, wanting an outlet for their self guilt. They want someone to talk to. It's like swearing and having to put something in a swear jar. The church just makes me laugh. Okay, the church is laughable and offensive at the same time. So yeah, some reviews us, and also if you come to the church and talk to angels and pay some dollar, it's all good. But if you summon something alone at home, you're a devil worshiper, man. Sometimes Jesus seem here. Yeah, it's just. Oh, by the way, for those of you, obviously the conversation has drifted off, or not drifted off, or has simply been heaved over to talking about organized religion and whatnot. I'm just letting people know that I'm obviously done with talking about the main topic. This stream was about discussing love from an occult perspective and soulmates. I've already clarified that, and I've repeated myself multiple times. So yeah, just so that's clear to you guys. For the rest, yeah, I spoke of the meaning of existence as a sideline because someone asked me, someone in the chat section asked me, and now we're talking about organized religion. For the rest, I have nothing else to say. I've addressed all of the comments to the best of my ability. I have nothing else to say. And so, again, we've gotten to the point, once again, we've gotten to the point where the stream will be reliant upon the comments that you guys make. I will keep the stream going as long as people have questions that are worth answering, and as long as I still want to host the stream and I'm still, so to speak, able-bodied. If not, then yeah, I'm gonna close off the stream. But yeah, let's continue. Occult experience says, is there any way to undo a sin? Yes, there is a way to undo a sin karmically by occult means or otherwise. Um, it's just never, something to remember is that it's never too late. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you were a serial killer and killed a bunch of people and raped a bunch of women and whatnot. There's always hope for you, even on the last day that you're alive, or even in the astral realm. There is always a chance at repenting yourself, and that's simply by following the commandments, doing what God said to do, to the best of your abilities, and sacrificing everything in His name. And since we're on that, since I made such a mention, what I do need to tell you guys too is that's where the phrase "love thy neighbor as thyself," do unto others as they do unto you, or as you do unto yourself. That's what it stands for. So, in terms of serving God, at the very least from a Christian perspective, God wants you to give up everything for the sake of others. You're supposed to put the needs of others before the needs of yourself. Of course, you're not supposed to deprive yourself from the essentials, but the point is to abstain from all luxuries, and all of the possible luxuries that you could attribute to yourself, you need to attribute that to others. So if you work a job and you make a good deal of money, you work overtime and etc. God says to use little as possible. Just God stated that where you're supposed to use as little as possible in terms of resources. So you're only supposed to pay your bills, etc. Nothing should go towards self-pleasurement. Okay, give all of your money to the poor as much as you can. Okay, help others, do pro bono work. That's literally what God says. If you want to get into heaven, you want eternal life, then that's what you're gonna have to do. But instead of that, it's the exact opposite. People simply seek to over glorify themselves and whatnot. I freely admit even that even I am privy to this, that even I have been that I sin in this regard, in this aspect. I never said that just because I was an occultist and a very good one, even if I say so myself, to say the least, that that I'm not a sinner. No, we're all sinners pretty much in thingy. Even if you're unaware of it, at some point you will have sinned. Okay, if you live within society, even if it's just a nice woman that you saw walking past and the thought of sex with her just came to you, even if it's just for a split second, that's a sin. Spinosaurus says, is it a problem if I'm high? Like, is it a sin? Yeah, in a way it is. It's not a direct sin, but it is indirectly because you're getting high for pleasure. And yeah. Sim Review says that's where Islam says, if you didn't repent in a material life, it's over, son. So if you didn't repent in their flesh, you will be thrown down to Iblis in everlasting punishment. Yeah, I know. I'm not too big on Islam. Like most of you that know me know that I'm not too big on Islam, and I don't like Muslims in general because just for practical reasons, you know. They're not the only ones that I don't like, but I don't like a lot of people for generally speaking lack of self-worth and just improper behavior. And the story. Even I, as a Christian, and I can still appreciate a nicely built mosque. You know, there's a local mosque even in my location that is, I think, the best looking building, religious building. And I simply made a picture of it. I'm gonna show you guys an image of a local mosque here in Suriname. And I turned it into a wallpaper when I took a picture of it, and has how many? Let me see. It has 78 downloads, and it is really beautiful, especially taken into account that it's a local thing. You know, there aren't even skyscrapers here, so yeah. But that mosque is really beautiful. So yeah, to all the followers of Islam that contributed to building that mosque or to the builder of that mosque, yeah, thumbs up. I'm not just because I dislike Islam doesn't mean that I'm going to be unreasonable. Somebody few says, yes, I got you, bro, trying to show you the contradictions together with the church. It's the same deal, but yes, like you said, the buildings, culture, everything, etc. is not bad. No. Another thing too that I can appreciate with it from Muslims is or even admire is their devotion. I think Semrafu says, yes, you see the beauty in the architecture. Yeah, exactly. Okay, the beauty is in the architecture and everything. And keep in mind, okay, that pretty much is one of the best buildings in this entire country. There are little to no other buildings that are as beautiful as that one. So I don't care what it is, whether it's a mosque or a church or anything. Um, but yeah, another thing about Muslims that I can thingy, that I can that I can appreciate is their devotion to their religious, to their thingy, to their religion, regardless of their devotion to their religion, regardless of just regardless of how their devotion to the religion, regardless of for what reasons it is, if it's just a primitive instinct or if it's just blindly following. The fact that you're willing to go to such extremes just for the sake of what you believe in, on a negative context, it's irrationality and it can be labeled insanity even. From a positive perspective, it is a high level of devotion. I'm not going to say the highest levels of devotion, but it is a high level of devotion. But they're not the only ones, okay? Christians also display this and whatnot. But yeah. Occult experience as if karma is a Judeo Christian principle. How come it was not mentioned in the Bible? I can give you a direct answer when it comes to that. Samuel says he can give a direct answer, but it is not black and white. Obviously, it's very elaborate and very complex, even by humans. By human standards, he says. So yeah, we'll just forgo that for now. Unfortunately, I can't answer your question of cult experience without going into detail about it. So yeah. So yeah, please feel free to ask me more questions. I'm just going through my WhatsApp messages right now. Uh, busy, busy, busy. Ah, Sim refuse. Sim refuse. The comment that you just made. I'm serious. Okay, I might be smiling, but I'd appreciate if you. I just appreciate it if you didn't make comments like that. Just let me know if you understood what I just told you. I just have my own personal reasons for why I don't want you to. For why I don't want you to mention something like that. Okay, 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 okay. Yeah, understand. Okay. Again, don't misunderstand me. I'm not upset or even mad at you or anything like that. I just have my own personal reasons for why I'd rather not have that comment show up. I don't want people to get the wrong idea, or I don't want people to get any idea. Okay, so you're saying it's all good. Okay, so yeah, continue. Any other religious related questions? You name it. As I recall or remember, Joan of Arc was about Joan of Arc took place in the Hundred Years' War, right, between England and between Britain and France. And Joan of Arc was what, French? I remember watching the movie with the actress Mila Jovovich, and I'm just fuzzy on the details. I can't remember what exactly Joan of Arc was, why she was thingy, why she was burned at the stake, and so on. So if anyone out there knows about it, please feel free to refresh my memory because I can't remember it anymore. While I wait for a comment, I will just answer an email. Google Maps is sending me something. We miss you on Google Maps. It's been a while. Contribute again. I used to contribute heavily in the past. I'm not a contributor anymore. I've already contributed everything that I can contribute. I've taken pictures and videos of every building in town back when it was still a hobby, so I'm not doing that anymore. Oh, some review says, for example, the interview with Bob Dylan, if you've seen it, when he says the chief of commander in this world and a world we can't see, referring to a deal he made with the devil. Do you think he literally summoned demons to get where he is, or is it just a metaphor? It could be both. It doesn't have to refer even to summoning demons. Okay, listen. The deal, I already discussed this in a previous video. I mean, in one of my old videos last year, that making a deal with the devil does exist, but the devil as a singular entity, most of them think it's Satan and Lucifer and so on. No, doesn't exist. The devil is just a reference to malevolence and evil in general. It's not a reference to any particular entity. There is no such thing as the devil. That's why that video as a title has, there is no such thing as the devil. There's no such thing as the devil. You're telling me some reviews that you'll check it out. You missed it. Sure, no problem. Just go through my channel. Just look up anything on devil. Use devil as a search query, and you're bound to find it. You can find a bunch of other things. Okay, the deal with the devil doesn't exist, etc. Point is that no, the realistic occult version of making a deal with the devil, quote unquote, the devil, that does exist. But that exists in the way of individuals selling themselves, if you will, to a malevolent entity or an infernal entity. In any case, an entity that is willing to make that deal. Simple example is saying to any infernal spirit that you summon, so a demon that will accept such a deal. Hey, listen, I will I want you to see to it that I have everything I desire in this lifetime. and in return you can do with me as you please after that. That's the realistic version of a deal with the devil, and as you can already tell, it's illogical from all perspectives. Okay, it's literally the equivalent of taking out a loan or a loan shark that has a 10,000% interest rate. Can you imagine? You're lending $5,000 to get out of debt, and you need to pay back, for example, $50,000. You need to pay it back tenfold, and if not, then the loan shark will send gangsters to your house to murder and rape your family and to break your fucking legs and whatnot. So yeah, that's the whole point. It's putting yourself into astral debt, the heavy astral debt, because that spirit might be able to get you, will be able to get you all the things that you desire up to a certain extent. Fame, glory, riches, whatever you want, pretty much. That is that he can give you. But in exchange, when you're dead, okay, you'll be serving under that spirit, and you only live for what? Your physical life is assuming that if you're an adult, you make that deal. You're 30 years old, or you make that deal around that age. You have like what, half a century to enjoy yourself, and it could be 1,000 years, it could be 10 centuries, literally ages before you're released from your bondage, because you'll have to serve that spirit for hundreds of years. For hundreds of years. If you're lucky, then the world will end before it, and even then, you as well as that spirit might be thrown into the pit of fire or to go to hell. That's the realistic version of it. And yes, there are individuals out there that have done it, okay? And it's more common than you think or expect. There are individuals out there that have done so. I mean, I've seen it locally. It doesn't matter ethnicity, none of those things matter. It's a lot more common than you think. Unfortunately, there are people in this world which will stop at nothing to attain, generally speaking, to attain their desires. And I don't mean that, obviously, I don't mean that in a good way. When I say they'll stop at nothing, I mean that they'll resort to doing a bunch of shitty things that they should not be doing. They'll resort to immorality on a gross, ridiculously gross level in order to get what they want. Just locally in my location, I've seen it numerous times, and primarily the aim is wealth. The aim is literally wealth. And then when everything turns to shit, then yeah, it turns to shit, and you find yourself in in a situation that you couldn't have possibly imagined being worse. So yeah. Anyone have any other questions? I like the fact that the stream is upbeat and go moving along fast or quick. I've been streaming for an hour and a half. We're at the 1 hour and 32nd minute mark. Got 6 people watching this. Occult experiences with practicing occultism the way we do considered a sin. It is said that in the Bible, but it's not something that you should worry about. Someone already asked me this question in the past, and yeah, as far as I know, there is a passage in the Bible, whether it's Old or New Testament, that says that magic is forbidden and that people that practice magic will go to hell. But like I told you, it's not something that it's no different than a mundane sin. Samael tells me, so you don't have to worry about it. The others concur too, the way they do most of the times. So yeah, it's no different than a mundane sin. Occultism is no different than it's no different than lusting after women or lusting after people sexually or anything like that. I'm just comparing it in terms of severity. It's by no means anything similar to what we were just talking about, which is selling your soul to the devil. So no, that is just womb. That's just wow, way past the border, way past any imaginable border. So yeah, way past any imaginable border that you can imagine. Whereas occultism is just an art form, and it's neutral. It is a sin, but only in theory. It's neutral in reality. Okay, because you can also choose to do good as well as bad with your occult skill. And if it was a legitimate grave sin, then you would not even be able to call upon angels. So no. Jesus, from a certain perspective, was a magician. From an occult perspective, Jesus was a magician. But you know what? I don't like viewing it like that, and nor should it be the case. But yeah, from an occult perspective, Jesus was a magician. A lot of people don't realize this, but occultism and spirituality, occultism and religion pretty much go hand in hand. They're very similar, eerily similar, even. Occultism is basically, if you will, at the very least in a modern setting, the true path to God. I remember telling that to someone or saying that to someone. I remember telling someone that. Occultism in nowadays context, in a modern context, is the true path to self ascension and to salvation, if you will. Okay, a lot of people aren't familiar with this. But yeah, if someone legitimately asks me, listen, I'm serious, dead serious, I want to know what the meaning of existence is. I want to know what life is all about. Why am I here? And you name it. It just goes on and on and on. Then I would refer that person to occultism. I tell that person, listen, either read the Bible, and if you're still not helped, then you're still unclear of the Bible. If you're still unclear on all of that, then seek out occultism. And if that person really has the willpower to end to push through all the way, then yeah, that person will get answers eventually. Some review says, I see, yes, the typical Hollywood stuff. I see interesting. Some review says, yes, there is a misconception in the occult. Also, that if one would give blood as an offering in a ritual, a person not knowing thinks what they see as someone selling their soul for fame and fortune. Those videos are like trending in huge volumes all around Europe in so-called ghost 3 a.m. investigation videos. It's really stupid and foolish, but yes, listen, that's why occultism by definition means hidden knowledge. So understand that very clear, okay? Nothing that you can find on a surface level, almost nothing that you can find on a surface level, has any real merit to it. Only something that you were drawn to or something that someone else guided you towards. I don't want to come off as high and mighty, but for example, my material, only then will you find something that's credible. I mean, and even my material, my website and my YouTube video, etc. All of these, okay, combined, they you won't be able to make sense of them if you're not determined. You'll just read it superficially and you won't be able to make sense of it. But someone that legitimately wants to know, that just wants to know, will know. That's the whole point. There is nothing. We all know that nothing in this world practically is free, whether it be material or immaterially. So that knowledge is also not free. You have to literally work. You have to earn that knowledge. It doesn't come falling out of the sky. And on a superficial level, it's nothing but deception and misinformation for, at the very least, 90%. As far as I'm concerned, 99%. Only if you really dig deep into the rabbit hole and go beyond, if you just go beyond to the point where you actually can't see the light outside the hole anymore, if you've gone that deep, you've dived that deep into darkness, only then and only then will you be able to only then will you be able to extract something of value. There was also, I remember, there's also a wallpaper that I like, not a wallpaper but an image, or a meme or something. uh, um, um, yeah, it's a quote, allegedly it's a quote by Einstein, and I'm going to share it with you guys. Here you go. Read it for yourself, and I'm going to read it out loud for you guys. To hint my example, it's by Albert Einstein, allegedly. The one who follows the crowd will usually get no further than the crowd. The one who walks alone is likely to find himself in places no one has ever been. And that rings true for that couldn't ring true for occultism if it were, if it tried to be. I will never forget the things that I've seen in my life, in my occult practice, and the things that I've experienced, the knowledge that's been passed down to me. That knowledge has made me the person I am today, and it weighs incredibly heavy on me, on my soul, so to speak. Okay, make no mistake. This knowledge is not for the weak, or it's not for those that are, metaphorically speaking, weak-willed. But yeah, it's worth it. And I would rather spend eternity knowing what I know and carrying the burden of what I know than than otherwise, than the opposite. That's where the saying, or that's where the phrase ignorance is bliss comes from. Those of you that aren't familiar with the phrase ignorance is bliss simply means that the dumber you are, the happier you are, which is true. Like another saying goes, okay, as another saying goes, what you don't know can't hurt you. There is nothing more comforting than ignorance. If you're unaware of something, then it doesn't do anything for you because you're completely unaware of it and oblivious to it. But when you genuinely know something, when you genuinely when you genuinely when you have knowledge that is very important, you'll automatically say that it weighs on you astrally like a burden. Okay, and I need to find that thing for you guys. I need to find. Yeah, it's a quote by allegedly by King Solomon, and by King Solomon. I need to find it. Uh, Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah, there you go. Finally, I found it. Yeah, and I'm going to show it to you guys. Hold on for a second. I'll get to your questions in a second. That's it. Okay, and it says, in much with the wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. I have a video on this explaining what it means exactly. I have a video too that explains the quote as above, so below. In much wisdom there is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Let me try to find the. Let me try to find the thingy. Let me try to find the expanded version. It's also in the Bible, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 18, I think. With wisdom comes sorrow. So I set my mind to know wisdom and madness and folly. I learned that this too is a pursuit of the wind, for which much wisdom comes much sorrow, and as knowledge grows, grief increases. And yes, all of this is true. Okay, that's I mean, I literally cannot begin to comprehend. I cannot begin to comprehend how sorrowful I am. That's one of the many reasons why people say why people. That's one of the many reasons why it might come off, at the very least in the past. It has come off in the past that I am miserable and that I am stern. I rarely smile. I rarely seem upbeat. I seem serious and melancholic in nature. And my general answer varies from my location to what the fuck do you want? I'm an occultist. But yeah, it's difficult to the people that do know what an occultist is, or the person that I'm talking to at that moment that actually knows what an occultist is. Here, I just ignore the local people, the ones that ask me why I never smile and some shit and why I always look so depressed. Not right now. These were things that I heard in the past. I'm not worried about that. Okay. And that's also why I had to explain myself. And I made two videos on why I rarely smile, why I rarely smile one, and why I rarely smile two. And I've already said that in one of these videos. One of the reasons I don't, and the majority of people that know this, the majority of people that have the same knowledge that I do or similar knowledge know this too. He that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Okay, and this rings no truer than the occult. I mean, me knowing all the things that I know, not just occult wise, we're talking about spirit attributes and so on. No, my wisdom on existence and on life and on how it works, how all of it works, God, it just weighs so heavy on you. It weighs heavy on you like no other. Okay. People used to ask me why I sigh a lot. People ask me, why are you sighing so much? It's like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, but they have no idea that, yeah, up to a certain extent, this is true. I have the weight of the world on my shoulder, but just metaphorically speaking, of course. And yeah, all of the knowledge that I have literally just poured into my videos and into my material that I share with the public, so you guys, all of it is just, all of it is just, I mean, if I didn't know anything that I knew the way I know it now, if didn't have all this knowledge on existence and the meaning of existence and the beings that rule over us, all the way to God that rules over us and everything else, I would I would literally be a smiling jackass. I would be like, I would be just a fucking idiot. I'd be a happy idiot, but an idiot nevertheless. And I've told people this too in the past. I've told people online, I've told people in person, I would much rather be unhappy and horrendously miserable knowing what I know than the other way around, than be as ignorant as a boulder, so to speak, but happy. No, that's not the way to live. That's not the way to exist, okay? It's not the way to be, period. It's just knowledge is there to be understood and to be grasped. And yes, that's normal. He that seeks knowledge literally seeks sorrow. Knowledge equals sorrow. That's why it came from King Solomon. An occult, it's meant in an occult context as well as a neutral one. The more you know, the more you'll come to the realization of all the negative aspects of the world. I mean, for me, someone that is so ignorant that that person has no idea on the fact that things are a lot better, generally speaking, abroad and whatnot. Just as a simple example, a reference to my location. Okay, people that are so dense that they live in some kind of bubble where this country is the only country that exists. These people are happy because they have no idea that that there's actual grass, green grass on the other side. Whereas here, there's no grass to begin with. Okay, it's like a nomad living in the desert his entire life and not knowing that there is such a thing as a jungle and such a thing as green pastures and steppes and so on, and that there's such a thing as snow, you name it. But for people that are familiar with it, people that actually have that knowledge, it does something to you. It automatically changes you. Okay, it makes you wise, but at the same time, it also puts you in a uh, it puts you in a melancholic mood, a permanent melancholic mood, because it's like taking a step and every step hurts. You're taking a step because you want to progress, you want to get to where you want to go, and you need to move in order to make that happen. But every move hurts. So you need to choose either stay where you are or move and just suck up the pain. I choose the latter. One of my main slogans that I've told people numerous times is no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. Okay? If you don't want to suffer any pain, just stay where you are the rest of your life and take things the way they are, or take everything the way it is like an animal. But if you want genuine advancement and progress in your life, then you'll have to step outside your shell and allow yourself to be vulnerable. You're gonna have to step outside your comfort zone. That's the only way to grow. That's the only way you can make any advancements. Okay. So yeah, that's what that saying means. Uh, So does anyone have any questions for me? I'll get to your questions in a second. Um. Okay. So yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get to the questions. Spinosaurus says, "Oh, that is super wise." Yeah. Thanks. Sim review says, and that makes us in the occult weird, and we have to hide our stuff. It doesn't matter. Listen, you should. One of the main things as an occultist is that you should stop caring about what others think. Not just as an occultist, just overall. Stop caring about what others think of you in such a setting. If you're going to worry about stuff like that, then you're going to take everything seriously. Someone calls you an asshole, you're going to take it almost like as if that person shot you. No, I mean, these people don't know anything for the most part. So what does that matter? Cultists aren't weird, okay? We come off as weird because we're the same ones in a world that's completely insane. We're the ones that actually, we're pretty much like Christians in a world filled with atheists, or Christians in a world filled with pagans. We're a minority and we know we're right, but the rest of the world, the majority, sees us as nutcases. Of course, that's normal. And because people, generally speaking, that are ignorant, like to label others as being insane and whatnot. That's a superficial saying that has no meaning. I've told people to, you're insane. But I don't mean literally that they're insane. I just mean that, it's just a general saying in the sense of, I don't approve of what you do. Just was as a friend, you're insane. Okay. I would never do something like that. But I don't literally mean that that person is insane. Don't even come close to it. So yeah, uh, like I said, the idiots, people that are actually smart, will come off as insane. To the ignorant, the wise will come off as mentally ill or insane. Keep that in mind. Uh, Hold on, please, for a second. I forgot to share this live stream with a couple of people. Crap. Let's see. Open. Why won't you open? Cult Experience says, have your views on occultism changed in any way since your recent experience with Jesus? No, not really. It's just super enlightened. I almost can't believe it's almost something that's too good to be true, but at the same time, it's actually realistically happening. I've been told that I have proven myself worthy of, and he's have proven myself worthy, and he has in, he has been instructed to guide me for eternity, or for as long as Father sees fit, as God sees fit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So hence the labarum tattoo too. Okay, Christos, in this sign thou shalt conquer in hoc signo ignis. And yeah, this like I said to you guys, okay, also people that ask me about the tattoo, by my standards, even by my ridiculously high standards, occult standards, with all that I've accomplished, when I really when I had this labarum place, even now, the power that it gives off is incredible. Okay, it's unlike anything I've ever felt before. Anything. It it even supersedes my beloved Lord and my Vice Lord's power in terms of severity. I feel that power, and it's different. It's not like anything I've ever experienced. I just and of course I love it. I have no complaints. Some review says, right, I agree. Yes. Spinosaurus says, damn, let me tell you a story. In front of him for forgiveness, and security guard whipped him with a whip and started running after him. I'm sorry, Spinosaurus, what are you talking about exactly? So continue, Spinosaurus. I don't think you'd see I don't think you see you saw the last comment about the main story. I'm sorry, what comment? I don't know. What comment are you referring to, Spinosaurus? Occult experiences, do you still need the help from other spirits now that Jesus is with you? Yes, yes, yes. Listen, everything remains unchanged, okay? And I don't have an altar to Jesus. I don't work with Jesus in a traditional context because Spinosaurus says I wrote too. Okay, listen, can you copy and paste for me, please? Because I tried going back in the chat section, but I didn't see anything. I tried to scroll upwards, but I didn't see anything. In any case, occult experience. No, this is just, Jesus is not a traditional spirit, so no. He's just here with me, and none of the general rules apply. No offerings to him, nothing. He's just there, and he's there permanently until the decision has been made otherwise. And yeah, that's it. Spinosaurus says here, I posted it again, killed. Do you see it now? No, I just see killed. All I see Spinosaurus is killed. I literally just see the word killed. K-E-E-L-E-D. Some review says if Jesus is there. If Jesus is there as an energy form, that means the Prophet Muhammad also could be contacted in the astral plane. Yes. Yes. Okay, now you're telling me Spinosaurus says, damn, let me tell you a story. Yesterday, a homeless drug addict jacked off and pissed on another homeless guy, tried to make him suck his dick, and that also stole his money today. And then he what? So yeah, continue. And then he kneeled. Yes, okay. And in front of him for forgiveness, and a security guard whipped him with a whip and started running. Okay. Okay, and started running after him. Okay. And what exactly about your story do you, and that's it. Okay, but what exactly about your story do you want? Does the story remind you of Jesus, the way they whipped Jesus when he carried the cross, I'm assuming? Or something similar? You'll have to excuse me, but I'm kind of oblivious on the point of your story. What point do you want to make with this story exactly? Spinosaurus says no, but I'm just too high. Okay, now I know for a fact that you're high. You've demonstrated it effectively. I just wanted to let you know. Okay. Okay. Something that's completely off topic, but okay, duly noted. Um, occult experiences, thanks for sharing. Yes, thank you for sharing indeed. So yeah. Anyone have any other questions on the subject? Some reviews says astral travel, bro. How you done this a lot? Some reviews. You remind me of a meme. You know, do you even live, bro? Do you even live, bro? I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger meme. Do you even live, bro? You remind me of a joke that a stand-up comedian makes, a Canadian one, Russell Peters, the Indian, and that he mimics Persian guys selling rugs out of their trunks and go like, "Yeah, bro, this is best, bro, this is best all around, bro. Yes, this is best, bro." All they can say is, "This is best, bro." David B says, "Hello, hello, David B. I'm so sorry, David. I forgot to invite you to the party." But yeah, better late than never, as the saying goes. I'm really sorry. Okay, I, uh, I just started. I was just inspired, if you will, and I immediately started the live stream. And I share that with the basic. I share that with people, generally speaking, via WhatsApp and whatnot. But I completely forgot to, send it to you via Messenger. I'm so sorry. Oh, occult experiences. You end up watching that movie Into the Wild. No, I didn't. I remember you guys recommended that movie to me. I'm sorry. I didn't watch that movie Into the Wild. Sim reviews us, I know exactly. I watch most of the stand ups. LOL. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I love Russell Peters, but unfortunately, he's lacking in new material. It's where he makes fun of ethnicities, and nationalities. Spinosaurus says, and we talked to the homeless man that got pissed on, and he said how much he wanted to kill the guy and how he wants to kill him together with me, and that only he will go to jail because he won't snitch. Holy shit. I mean, that's one hell of a story. I mean, seriously. That's one hell of a story. No, that's one hell of a story. That's one hell of a story. I, David B says it's all right, no problem. Yeah, again, man, I'm sorry. I didn't open up Messenger. I didn't open Messenger. I just, it was just a this is just a spur of the moment live stream. And usually the spur of the moment live streams are the best because those are live streams in which am those are live streams that are being streamed purely out of thingy. I almost want to say desperation. No, not desperation. These are live streams that I simply do out of uh, out of inspiration. I'm inspired to do a live stream, or when I'm inspired to do something. When I'm inspired. Okay, semicolon I live stream, and these live streams are usually the best live streams, the most popular ones, and also the ones that are the most flexible. Which this one is. It's been 2 hours, over 2 hours, and I'm still not even. It's like I just sat here for 15 minutes or half an hour. David B says, "What is the topic at the moment?" Topic at the moment is well, we just finished talking. We just finished talking about occult knowledge. We just finished talking about occult knowledge, and I explained what the phrase "he that increaseth knowledge increaseth of sorrow" means. Spinosaurus says, "I have a crazy nightlife. Yeah, also a dangerous nightlife." Sim Review says, "They come to a point where they're out of ideas, I believe. You can see it in many artists, even when they take insane measures just to keep it up top. A food chain, and then, I mean, those really up there in the list. Yeah, I know. It's like Britney Spears, she just lost her mind somewhat and she started shaving her hair and shit. Oh, Spinosaurus as well. I really need to work with Michael for protection. David B says Madonna as well. Some reviews as laughing. Okay, the stream is taking a more relaxed turn for people that are watching and people that aren't vocal in the stream. We're talking about chat wise, so people that are just watching in the background, looking at the stream in the background. I I'm just letting you guys know, for those of you that are silent and in the background, that the stream is taking a more relaxed approach. So we're going to be talking about several mundane things. And currently we're on stand-up comedians and celebrities that have lost their mind due to a lack of inspiration. Um, Spinosaurus, please finish what you were about to say. David B says, still trying to relay relevant and showing off her body, which is vomit inducing. Yeah, Madonna, definitely. Madonna is already so old and shit, and yet it's just her. Okay. Even Timmy's nasty. The one that sang, the artist that sang Poker Face, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is like what? Lady Gaga is just, I don't know, she seems so freaky. She seems like a freak, period. David B is asking me if she is 70 or 60, or asking us. Yeah, Madonna is definitely of an elderly age. Madonna is not a young girl in any case. I mean, look at how way back Madonna goes, okay? Songs were what, in the 80s, her popular songs? Spinosaurus says, if I don't work with Michael for protection, bad stuff might happen. Some review says she is loyal to Lucifer. Lady Gaga, there is. I hardly doubt that Lady Gaga even knows who Lucifer really is, you know? Full of shit. They're just full of shit, for one. They're just full of shit. Oh. David B says they just say that to get popular. Again, example with Madonna, she went like full Judaism, Kabbalah, etc. Some review says I bet they would freak out in an invocation only. They've never seen such things. Perhaps they have. I don't know. But I do know they also get famous by sucking up to the gay elite who run Hollywood. Yeah, of course. Okay. I think the last one I saw was what's he called? Robert De Niro. De Niro is a has-been. I never even liked De Niro that much to begin with, and De Niro is saying a bunch of stupid stuff about President Trump. And yeah, he's just a washed-up has-been. They're simply sucking up to the Hollywood elite because they don't want to. They just don't want to lose all their privileges. It's like a woman that is afraid of becoming old. Just accept the fact that your tits are gonna hang, they're gonna become saggy, and that your skin is gonna be wrinkled, and that your V is going to stretch itself out. You're not going to remain young, thin, and tight for the rest of your life. You have women like that, okay? These women are usually these women are the ones that usually go under the knife, plastic surgery wise, numerous times, etc., etc. And then it ends up being a botched Botox or something similar, and they look like crap even more. David B says, "Oh yeah, he went on a stadium and said fuck Trump, and he got applause. Yeah, at the Academy Awards or something." Some reviews say so. It's not always demons and roses, lol, as I have seen. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, come on, guys. Please give me more examples. But I do enjoy watching these guys making asses out of themselves. I remember Madonna too. Madonna just went like, "I have thought a long time about blowing up the White House," and I was like, "Okay." I'm assuming that even the journalists standing next to her are going like, "Okay, this bitch has lost her mind. Okay, just keep recording." And it was so fake. I have thought a lot about blowing up the White House. I would never stand for that. If I were Trump, I literally would have thrown her ass. I would have sicked the FBI on her, or Homeland Security. She would have. Okay, you as the president, you need to have respect for me. You have the right, as under the First Amendment in the U.S., you have the right to express yourself freely. So you have the right to say that you hate me. You have the right to say "fuck you, Mr. President." What you do not have the right to do is to make documented threats against me or any member of White House staff. That's an incitement to domestic terrorism, and I wouldn't stand for it. I would not stand for it. I'd throw you in a hole and I'd let your family know that they're never going to see you again. David B says, isn't that like calling for terrorism? That's what I said. I said it's an incitement to domestic terrorism. David B says, and Guantanamo Bay, hello. Yeah. But yeah, again, the US, I don't want to be mean, but yeah, I honestly, it's going to take, even if it takes a good while, okay? It's going to take a while, maybe, but most likely. But the US, so yeah, it's just, it's just ridiculous. The U.S. is also poised to is doomed to fall. You know, I'm seeing it into its. I mean, civil war is looming. The divide has become too great to the point where you've got nut jobs on one hand, Hollywood elitists, and you've got the masses on the other hand. They're quiet because they're afraid of having their Facebook accounts closed off, etc. So yeah. Some review says he sure did fire off the terror levels on the colored roadside to moderate terror threats for the mass sheep. Some review says those roadside machines, they have to change colors of the terror threat level that day. It's fucking ludicrous, lol. So yeah, guys, keep going, keep going. Uh, David B says there are so many actors and singers that say fuck Trump, blah blah in public. Have you ever smoked weed? If you are comfortable saying that, no, I've never smoked weed, but I don't use any kind of hallucinogens or drugs whatsoever. I do drink, but only on social occasions, so alcohol. David B says even Katy Perry got went woke, go broke. Some review says, bro, check this one out, lol. Yeah, sure, I'm checking it out. Just share whatever you want to share with me, Sim reviews. Just share it, okay? I'm waiting for you to share your stuff, Sim reviews. Holy crap. Sim refuses, oh, you don't see the link, dang. It's mostly, I'm assuming that it's pornographic or something, right? If it's pornographic, then it's not going to appear. Okay, Sim refuses, search this on Google and go to image Homeland Security Advisory System. Okay, I'm doing it. Homeland Security. Color-coded terrorism threat advisory scales. Okay, yeah, I understand that. You've got low, guarded, elevated, high, and severe. And, okay. Spinosaurus says, by the way, I have the whole thing filmed. What film? The story. Oh, okay. I can send it to you if you want. Yeah, sure. Just upload it to YouTube or something and just send it to me. Some review says it's hilarious when the ancient Jews sacrifice a goat to absolve their sin. Did it actually work? Did the scapegoat really carry the sin of their nation into the wilderness, or was it a waste of time and resources? It was a ritual. It was symbolic in nature, not meant to be taken literally. Interesting question. OE was the thing with Madonna. They raised it to max to steer the sheep a bit. David B says, I'm afraid to see what can be there under that security thing, Sim. I don't know how to upload Spinosaurus. You don't know how to upload a video? Just go to YouTube, click on upload. It's that simple. So yeah. I'm seeing parody versions of this thing, this threat system. I'm seeing one that's funny. Homeland Security Advisory System. One says okay, the other one says uh-oh. The yellow one says oh no. The orange one says oh crap. And the red one has an atom bomb emoji and says oh well. It's funny. It's okay. I'm gonna show this to you guys. Show. Here, check this out. Let me know. Isn't that funny? I'm multitasking, guys. Just keep going. Uh, um, will my Spinosaurus says, will my account get banned since the guy was jacking off and his dick was out? Yeah, don't upload it on YouTube. Okay, no, upload it on a porn site. Yeah. David B says, LOL, upload it on Pornhub. If you make that video only through link or unlisted, I think it's fine. Simberfuse says, well, they sure would like that some 3-star generals. Raise the fucking bar, boys. Here we draw. Simberfuse says, it's funny. I admire Americans. They're both cool, but also foolish. I guess we all are, but they're just remarkable for sure. I'm just honest. Most of us grew up to American movies, etc. It has a big impact. David B says, if you search on YouTube, genitalia waxing or breastfeeding, those accounts are not banned, so you should be fine, Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus says, LOL, a friend sent me a video of another friend passed out drunk on a concrete, them coming from a party. Oh, okay, and it wasn't you. The one who passed out, LOL, no. Spinosaurus says, no, I didn't drink today. David B says, you can always start. David B, how was work today? I'm assuming that everything went okay. David B, why won't you please answer me? Um, David B says, Morino, did you hear about Trump's idea to buy a Greenland? That report made me laugh. To buy Greenland or a Greenland? Spinosaurus says, well, man, I have to go right now. See you next stream. Yeah, bye, sure, see you. David B says, yes, of course, all good, just annoying rain. Annoying rain. I don't know what you mean by that, David B. Okay, in any case, guys, I think it's enough. It's 2.5 hours worth of streaming. I will see you guys. I am out, and until next time. Simple Fuse has one last question. I'm going to close off with that, and then I'm leaving. Simran says, would you agree that Clonek Office is more of a consultant when it comes to assistance in business and finance? That is not some sort of a money manifestor, but more of a teacher in business. No, I disagree with that. Clonek deals with career, money via career means. Okay, that's it. Bye, guys.